Let me be really, really clear. I don't care about Don't Worry, Darling. I don't care about the movie itself. I don't care about the drama. I don't care why has this taken up so many headlines on Reddit, on Facebook, on Instagram. Everybody just seems to be talking about the drama around a movie I was not interested in seeing from the beginning. Okay? So let's just get that out of the way. I think all of this is viral marketing tactics. I think Olivia Wilde is a troll. I am not interested in this, but here we are talking about it. Okay?
Yeah.
This. Go ahead, Dan. You.
I was just gonna add to that. I think at this point the PR team for that movie has taken the stance of any PR is good PR, because
Yeah.
otherwise they would have like taken her off the press tour, and because it's like every time she does an interview, she's stepping on some kind of like ticking time bomb that creates only further controversy, whether
Yeah.
intentionally or unintentionally. It just feels like, yeah, the PR team is, they're not doing damage control because they're like, this is not a Marvel movie, so whatever gets us attention. Like, because as long as people go to see it at least once, we'll make money. That's probably how
Yeah.
they're taking it.
Yeah. And, I know this is the reason we were bringing this up is because this week there have been 3 or 4 separate stories about actors getting standing ovations that are longer than, well, it started with, I think, a 6-minute standing ovation for The Whale for Brendan Fraser. And then
Something
that
like
was,
that. Yeah.
people were excited about that because they're like, he really deserved that. He really did something. And so that was the first one we saw.
Yeah.
Then, Don't Worry, Darling, Olivia Wilde, never to be outdone by anyone ever. She, I think, orchestrated, I'll just say that, I think orchestrated a 10-minute standing ovation. Okay, so now the
Yeah.
movie, 42% on Rotten Tomatoes. By all accounts, it's not doing particularly well. I think part of the reason we're getting so much negative press about it is because people aren't going to see it because they're going to realize it's not very good. It's
Mhm.
so she gets a 10-minute standing ovation, and now that has to be outdone. And so Blonde gets a debut at a festival as well. Ana de Armas gets a 16-minute standing ovation.
I think it's like 14. Let's not get
14.
crazy, Andrew. Come on.
Okay,
Let's
but
not.
still, I just saw another one yesterday. I already forgot the movie, but 4 headlines.
Yeah.
That's not number one. That's not a news story. And number two, the length of a standing ovation, especially when you get 4 different stories about them in the same week, is not an indication of the quality of the movie.
Yeah.
What this says to me is like, this isn't people saying, "Oh, I love that so much." People aren't driven to do it. This is virtue signaling on like such a primal level of, I still like it. I really like it. It's as important. I'm making a statement. And now the applause, in a real interesting turn of events, the audience has become the performer.
Yeah. I can see that.
Dan, you're muted.
Sorry, I do this at least once a week, so at this point it's a normal thing. Um, but don't you think there's like the herd mentality to this, like where you're at like a festival, let's say like you go to Venice or you go to Cannes or you go to Toronto, and then like a movie like Don't Worry, Darling pops up, and then once you're up and clapping, you're sort of like, you're looking around like, are you guys still going?
I
Still going?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you just
I
feel compelled
personally
to just
never
kind of go
fall.
with it.
I
Yeah.
personally never fall victim to that. I stop when I think it's necessary, and I go, okay, these people are being ridiculous. It's not that good.
Yeah.
Nothing has ever made me clap. My hands get tired. They start to hurt.
Exactly.
I would never clap for 15 minutes for anything. For
Yeah.
anything.
I feel bad. Like I remember in school we had like have talent show and like people would like have like a guitar or something. They're like clap to the beat and like they would start it. And then we would
Yeah.
all do it for like 10, 20,
And
30
at,
seconds. If
and
we
at a
really
certain
liked
point,
it.
it starts disrupting the performance.
After
And
that, you
then,
can't do anything. You know,
yeah.
it's too much. You can't even keep to the rhythm. Everybody's out of place, you know. And then this is it's too much. There should never be anything more than a minute and a half. And even then, that's a lot. Because
Yeah.
what are the people presenting this movie going to do? They're just kind of standing there awkwardly. There's stuff supposed to happen like right after this, but no, they're standing there for 14 minutes, whatever minutes, how long that is.
And I just have to wonder, like, what are they clapping for?
Yeah,
In Brendan Fraser's case, okay, 6 minutes, I could see that because the
I could
guy
see why they
really
would be clapping for so long
he
for it.
committed.
But
That's not a fat suit. He committed to that weight, and by what I've heard, it's such a heartfelt story
yeah,
and a new type of character. That's something that I think people want that they've missed out on. It's not a superficial movie. It's not a movie that has anything to do with sex appeal. He's just like he's playing a real person
yeah.
and digging deep into what this person's life is. Don't
Which is
worry,
another thing
darling.
that Brendan Fraser has been going through because he's had a comeback. There was that
Yeah.
whole scandal where he was blacklisted from Hollywood, and people are aware of this, and he comes back with like Doom Patrol and starts doing other projects, and this like is amazing.
Do you think that's part of why people are giving the standing ovation because they're
Oh,
just glad to see him back?
they're glad to see him back. That guy was killing it in like the late 90s, early
Yeah.
2000s. He was everywhere. And he comes back, and it's this kind of just terribly true story from this perspective that you're not really used to.
Yeah.
And it's the character, it's the director, there's
And
a lot.
so you look at all of that. That's like legitimate reasons to encourage somebody who's been wronged and maybe, somebody who had an impact on your life because those movies meant a lot to you.
Yeah.
And he's actually accomplished something as an actor. He's made you feel something.
Yeah.
I
And then
look
it's
at
like
Don't
you
Worry.
say with Olivia Wilde, it's got to be a one up. And
Yeah,
at this
and
point,
her whole thing, I mean, from the first time I saw the trailer for this, I was really turned off by from director Olivia Wilde. It's so clearly all about her,
yeah.
and there's nothing. It's kind of Stepford Wivesy. It's sort of it's trying to make political points. It's trying to be super relevant, but at the same time be stylized like the 1960s. It just feels really out of touch, really, self-aggrandizing,
Yeah.
and I can't imagine, based on the reviews and the reception so far, that that was a genuine standing ovation that lasted 10 minutes.
No, there's so much drama that's coming out that's like, how is this believable? Come on. Are
Yeah.
you really? I mean, the whole Harry Styles spitting thing on
Yeah.
Chris Pine, which is just this
The
insane.
epitome of clickbait
Yeah.
of did he spit on him? And then the article, no.
Yeah. I don't know. There's a lot of questionable things that are happening with this movie. And I never want to judge a movie with the trailer because, like I always say, it just depends on your marketing team how we perceive it before we actually watch it. And so when it comes out, I'll probably watch it. I'm gonna be honest. Let's be honest. We're gonna have to do a review on it.
I I don't want to see it, but because I don't think it warrants any more attention than it's gotten.
Yeah.
But on the off chance that it's really, 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 really bad, I'll take some pleasure in watching it and reviewing it.
Yeah. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, the custody papers. That was a whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
Uh,
I don't know if that I don't think that was maybe probably
It's just to
orchestrated,
get
but
people
not by
talking
her.
about her. It's
Yeah.
all
But
just to get people talking about her.
I just
Oh, that's interesting. Has anybody ever been able to interview the person that served her?
I don't think so.
If you're the
Because I
person who
wonder if
served
she
her,
was
we would
served
like to interview
before.
you.
Yeah. I wonder if she was served before and then she hired somebody to go on stage and do that. Can they do that?
Well, I don't. So the
We
people
would
who
have heard
usually
about that.
serve papers, um they're not obliged to tell even the person. Like Jason Sudeikis, I'm pretty sure was not aware when the papers would be served, It's
Yeah,
not his
no.
prerogative to decide when that happens. It's the, I forget, like, is it the legal team or whoever does the work. And I'm pretty sure they would, they would easily just be like, yeah, we're not talking to the press. Like, there's, they're not celebrity or public figures, so
Yeah.
there's no
I
obligation for
just
them
want
to make
to
a statement on any part. It's a
I just
private
want to add
matter.
fuel to the fire. I think I'm gonna say it, hot take. I think it was stunted. I think
Oh,
she
no
already got
question.
served
No
and
question.
hired somebody to give it to her because that's such a insane place, to go to that length of
It's
just somebody working from the government to.
I don't know if somebody I don't know if they hired the person to do it that way, but I think the idea of being served um, you know, on stage where most people don't even know that she's trying to direct at this point. They
Yeah.
just they've seen her in some movies. And that's regardless of how they went about it. Yeah, it's a stunt.
I
It's
mean,
just to get
she
people
had a
talking
good
about her.
movie. What was the other movie that she did? She had another film before this that was really well received, and I think that's really the reason how she got this project and the cast that she was able to pull for this. But
That she
I just
directed.
she directed, yes. That was her like directorial debut. But I mean, with all the stuff that's happening, really, whether it's
Oh,
her
Booksmart.
Booksmart, right? Whether it's her relationship with Harry Styles, whether it's, you know, the whole did he spit on Chris Pine at the thing, and whether she fired Shia LaBeouf or he quit, and some other people in this movie like Gemma Chan basically getting completely overshadowed because of the whole Florence Pugh. I mean, Florence Pugh is the lead here, but whatever supposed beef she might have with Olivia Wilde, it is. I mean, I
Who
don't know
cares?
how well this is
Who
gonna reflect
cares?
on her career and how well this is going to reflect on even somebody like Harry Styles who's trying to get serious consideration as an actor. He's so far always done like supporting roles, and he's a lead in this movie. And 50 reviews in on Rotten Tomatoes, it's got a 42% rating. We talked about this. It's 10-minute standing ovation for a movie that's sitting with that number after just 50 reviews. That percentage number will go down. It usually doesn't go up. It's not like you add 150 and all of a sudden it's going to be 98. This is not looking good. And
Yeah.
to that end, I mean, like you said, the myth of festival standing ovations, like whether it's the Woman King at Toronto, or whether it's the Blonde or the Whale. It's not. I'm not saying it uniformly is a bad indicator. I mean, Top Gun Maverick had a fantastic premiere at Cannes earlier this year. They even gave an honorary Palme d'Or to Tom Cruise, and that
Mhm.
movie became the biggest movie of the year and the highest rated movie of the year. And obviously, The Whale
It's
looks like a good film,
conspicuous to
but
me that there would be multiple stories this week. And is that just because the festivals happened this week
but
and
don't you guys think that?
festival goers like to do standing ovations?
To me, that's so. This is the thing, right? I feel like there's a lot of movies that probably get standing ovations, a lot of indies that people don't hear about, but the ones that you get a people.com or Entertainment Weekly or Deadline or Variety and Hollywood Reporter writing articles about are the ones where the marketing and PR teams are like orchestrating like a whole campaign to like
Mm.
have these prestigious festival launches for their movies and use it as a means to like either make a play at prestige and Oscars buzz and try to drive box office. I think nowadays these kind of festival circuit runs, or not circuit runs, but festival runs for these big movies are primarily used as a means to market them, where a movie like a Marvel movie doesn't need to do that because they already know people are going to show up to watch. These kind of movies need maybe oh, it did so well at that Venice Film Festival, I should go check it out. They clapped for it for 10 minutes. It can't be that bad. Whereas, Marvel movie, you're like, it's a Marvel movie about, oh, Iron Man's back? Yeah, sure. Hell, I'm gonna go watch it. Like, of course. I think that's what it comes down to. I don't think people should look at these articles and think like, oh, that's a reflection of the quality of the film. They should look at it and say, oh, there's a marketing team behind this really pushing the movie and giving us more reasons to watch, but I should still probably make my own opinion and maybe like read a review or two from somebody I trust, because that's probably going to give you a better reflection of what you might think about it ultimately. Um, yeah, that's my opinion at least.
Yeah, I don't know. Tell us what you think. Would you clap for anything for 15 minutes in your
I
life?
wouldn't.
I know I wouldn't.
I find it hard to stand up for like the Pledge of Allegiance in school, like when they used to do it, like please stand up, put your. I'm like it's
I
like
always stand.
I personally never
National
kind of
anthem,
took to that
hand
whole
over
thing,
heart.
whether it's the national anthem or anything like that. But this feels like one of those things where I'm like, if everybody else around me standing up, you kind of feel weird just sitting there. Or once you stand
Yeah.
up, the herd mentality of
No,
we're still doing this? Yeah.
the clapping is
Yeah.
Yeah.
because it's just.
I'd probably still
I don't know.
stand up, but I would stop clapping. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not
I'd
gonna
stand up
I
to
was
like
just
try and leave. I don't even like being around applause. It's
It's like,
jarring.
can you imagine it would almost be like way worse if you did that and you were like in the minority, like you're the only one who got up and started clapping, like, oh, nobody else is, oh, okay, should probably sit
Well,
back down.
isn't that how it should be?
It should,
Isn't that how it really should be?
maybe that's how it starts, and then everybody else feels compelled, especially if it's like, can you imagine if Olivia Wilde was the first one to stand up and be like clapping Florence
She
Pugh, and
probably
then
was.
everybody
She was
else
probably
feels
wearing a
compelled
false
to.
mustache and walked into the audience and was like, really good. She's a great
Yeah.
director.
Speculating,
Yeah, I
obviously, I don't know if that's
should
what
be like-
happened, but
It should be like a rap battle, you know? Like once it's done, then they can, the audience can go as loud as they want to really tell how much they like it, and then boom, that's it. That you're done. Maybe it makes groundbreaking screams and stuff like that, and that's the headline.
Yeah, but I
Not
can
to
just
make
I just
one.
have this image in my mind of Olivia Wilde's like press agent being like going around from like people like just so you know, guys, we're gonna try and beat the last standing ovation. So just make sure people around you just keep clapping. We're gonna try and go for 10 minutes, okay? And like just keep it. I can just see that happening. So
I don't think that's
That's
too
just-
far from the truth, honestly. Whether it's specific to this movie or not, I can so see that happening. I mean, I've grown to be more cynical about this kind of thing with Hollywood. It's like the awards circuits and festival
Yeah.
circuits.
here's an
It's just
idea.
the whole patting ourselves on the
Put
back.
all this effort into making the story good, and then maybe I'll clap for it.
Yeah, like Everything Everywhere All at Once. If the movie is good, you will get good word of mouth, and you will get more money for that. You don't have to worry, like, a movie like this, it seemingly at least is not good, and you're trying so hard to get people there. But if the word of mouth is not good, even if the opening weekend is good, it's not going to sustain itself over weeks and weeks,
Yeah.
like Top Gun Maverick or Everything Everywhere All at Once did, or The Batman did. Like those movies are good movies. Like, make a good movie first, and then worry about the rest later.
Well, I think to put a cap on this and even the Disney stuff is like I think now society has become aware that nothing gets made unless the marketing is really good. And now we've done so much marketing that it's starting to be transparent, and the quality isn't matching up to the effort being put into the marketing. And so maybe, hopeful optimist in me, maybe this means that we're going to become impervious to these silly stunts, and quality movies might just come back. But this is absurd, and it needs to stop.
I'd love to see the Deadpool kind of marketing campaign for a movie like this. They did
Yeah.
the first one was one of the best marketing campaigns for a movie ever, honestly.
Well, okay. Like and subscribe, share, do all the things that a good internet viewer does. Be one of our friends, be part of our movie fan community. We're talking about all the new shows, all the new movies, pretty much everything that's happening right now that is worth talking about. Is that it? Is that the show? No, we got plenty
No,
more
yeah.
coming on.
By the way, I love how you said like a good internet viewer does, like you're tapping on the
Yeah,
head, like-
good boy, good girl. You're doing a great job. We love you.